Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all. EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited and Tillian Group Country Cold Store.
Self-isolation is not a prison sentence, but it's the safest way to protect the people around you from possibly getting sick. Continue to comfortably buy your groceries and whatever you need, even when in quarantine. Use Coop Bank's e-banking to transfer funds to a close friend or family member's account and get them to do your shopping for you. Log on to www.grenadacoopbank.com and sign up for Coop Bank's e-banking.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Co-op Bank introduces e-payments, our new e-banking feature that allows you to send money to friends or family. E-payments, the swift, simple, and secure way of transferring money.
Welcome home. Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we get, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Tillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
You are offered a wonderful opportunity to win a grocery coupon to the tune of EC $250, redeemable at any of the food fairs. All you've got to do to qualify is like, share, comment, and follow EDDIE-FICATION on any of our social media platforms. This promotion continues for all of June with one draw on Thursday, June 30th. The winner will be announced immediately after advising the said winner. Any overseas winner is asked to kindly transfer their winning to a relative or friend who lives in the state of Grenada. I am extending an open invitation to any individual or company tuned in to come on board and assist with our drive to whip up an interest in getting more of our young people to pull up their chair and pay attention to the instructive thoughts and ideas shared on this program as we seek to edify them to make better decisions that would help to shape a better future for themselves and the future security of the nation as a whole. Join me in bringing to our audience with a chance to win something that can brighten their corner in these challenging times. Reach out and touch someone as regularly as you can afford. Of course, due recognition will be given to you for your active partnership in this regard. Thanks in advance.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all. Got it all.
Lovely. Welcome, folks. Welcome. And of course, this is our 76th Independent Live session and our 22nd for 2022. As we continue to consistently send positive vibes into the universe in preparation for all the positives that we crave in spite of our many challenges. For this too shall pass. As I've told you all too often, change is coming. Get ready to be a part of the movement going forward to salvage, stabilize, and build Grenada. For the change that we crave to last, we have to be first the change that we want to see as a people. Just a short reminder here, you are now able to tune into Facebook and YouTube Live, where you can follow, comment, like, share, or even subscribe. Spread the word. Remember to share, as much as you can, as long as you jump on, just hit that share button and let's get as many people edified as possible. Now, a big thank you to all of you for tuning in once more. Welcome to the newcomers of Edification, and this being, of course, my 117th edition, powered by Grenada Bank Group and Country Cold Store, all local giants in their own right, each of which started with humility and are today enjoying a great measure of exaltation by God's grace. Our topic today, a little probing, a little dicey. Desperation causes experience to look like dementia. The voice of the people is recognized, folks, as the voice of God. God has heard our cries and will answer us in ways we could not imagine. The reason why so many people have finally awakened is because they've stopped agreeing to things that insult their souls. You know, the book of Proverbs 26, verse 27 says to us, "He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and he that rolleth a stone, it shall return to him." People who set traps for others get caught themselves. That's all. The man who has been in the office of the Prime Minister for the longest since independence, 1 year shy of half of our life as a 48-year independent nation, and who had the best opportunities to do the best for this nation collectively, has reduced himself to a pedestrian spectacle. In fact, he's become a TikTok comedy factory. After every meeting with the many followers, his anger, jittery nature, desperation, deceptive nature, and just downright ugliness merged with what appears to be the onset of dementia, all stemming from a lack of a concept of enough. Now, just like the children of labor were the ones in the enlightened age of the late 60s and early 70s, saw to it that the power of Eric Gary was chipped away until it climaxed in the March 13th overthrow. So the writing is on the wall for many of the children of long-time supporters of this nightmare from 1995 to now, under Keith Mitchell's leadership, will see to it that his tyrannical, empty, divisive, and backward rule come to an end on Thursday, 23rd June, 2022. This is a predication made by many, and everyone with eyes to see can see the writing is on the wall as the atmosphere smells of change. The atmosphere smells of change. The desperation is real, and the prevailing vibes on the ground throughout the length and breadth of the state of Grenada points in the direction of people being fed up of the same diet of deceit being fed to them, while the nation is pauperized and gutterized with very, very little hope for a bright future, should the people chance them with the one for the road being solicited by the leader himself, who has run out of con in the form of promises and instead have to rely on the mauvais langue and gutter talk delivered in a visibly shaken manner, full of emptiness. The analysts among us, the few, because we have many analysts, but we have a very few, number of analysts who switch between rallies to check on viewership of each rally, seem to all agree that there is more interest in the main opposition's platform when compared with that of the incumbents. When the two leaders are speaking, while the numbers on the incumbents platform decrease sharply. They increase as sharply when the young Mitchell is delivering. Deacon Mitchell's stellar performance on Sunday last, while invoking the spirit of mass leader Maurice Bishop, whose 78th birthday was on that particular day, threw him over the top in terms of the reviews, while his opponent was relegated to the comedy section of TikTok. Adi Day, give me the thing now, and a whole pile of rubbish. That's really highlight. That's what you could take away from the incumbents' meeting and delivery. I recall being told by the late Father Bernard of the Roman Catholic Church some years ago, God rest his soul, that in the same way beauty is spiritual, supported by caring, loving, kind, and courteous attributes, so too is ugliness a very spiritual thing, except that it is negative spiritual. The only difference is that ugliness has nothing to do with the physical in terms of how broad one's nose may be spread across one's face, or how far apart one's eyes may be, or even how thick one's lips may be. Has nothing to do with the physical at all. Ugliness has to do with what we allow to flow from within. He went further to say that our energy and vibrations introduce us long before we open our mouths to speak. If every time one speaks, one opens his mouth to speak, his or her mouth, the only thing that can flow from that is filth and the products of division and schemes to pressure opponents with malignment. One can only see ugliness through and through. But we all know such a person who assaults this nation with old talk of little to no value and try to pass them off as national addresses. Could you imagine important issues which require the commitment of the government cannot be trusted under this man's leadership after the experiences of serious disappointments with failed promises of oil and gas, plans to deliver the nation's labor to the nation's labor unions, the no-show of shrimp farm and poultry farm, the collapse of the independently funded merger accommodation of TAMCC with McMaster University of Canada, so that a TAMCC education could have been counted for something on the world stage. And the list can go on to no end. All these good things never delivered. Do you think the nation should trust such a man with the additional old talk about phasing the payment of pension as ordered by the court through the ruling by the eminent Justice Ralston Glasgow? Folks, all you had to be upside down, walking upside down to believe this man. 2018 elections, the pension payment was promised, But instead, it was dragged through the courts again. Delay, delay, delay. But hoping is not a process. And of course, the ruling came not to their liking. And you won't believe such people again? I tell you, you had to be walking upside down. The unions had their poor experiences already at the hands of this particular individual and would be foolish to rely on yet another empty promise from this inherently dishonest leader who is just full of con. Folks, share the live now, man, and let's get some people inside here. It is true that after the fact, we get a lot of, thousands of views and that sort of thing, but gives people the opportunity to get it hot off the press now. Let's take a little break here, folks, and we'll come right back with some more.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited and Tillian Group Country Cold Store.
The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Good. Well, folks, let me just welcome you back. But of course, you know, I have to pay some measure of respect to the people who are with us, you know. Melissa, Dwight, Elizabeth, Didi, Percival, Jillian, welcome. Wonderful to have you folks. And of course, Abigail, Elisa, Virtuous, lovely name, Judith. Who else do we have here on this platform? Alice, Meryl, Jennifer, Tasha, Allison, Abigail, Kendra, oh lovely, Deborah, Alice, Mary, Anushka, yes, that's a lovely name, Samantha, Enid, good to see you there, my dear, Cuthbert, and Elena. So let's, you know, hit that share button and let's get some more people in the room and let's keep moving. Let's get a forward thrust here, folks. So welcome back. So in the second segment, we can expect all sorts of more nonsense and bungling on the campaign trail this time around, as cognitive abilities show glaring signs of decline, which one can see irritates the deliverer to no end. The dancing seemed to be the only thing the presenter may be left with after this campaign period is ended. But goodly folks, the truth is, no one wants to be seen as desperate. It is unattractive and likely to get one the very opposite of what one really wants. But how do you know if you are giving off a desperate vibe? Politicians who see themselves as invincible and can't be beat, as the saying goes, usually exhibit desperation at any hint of a sound licking on the horizon. The desperation is intensified when no desirable result can be seen to be forthcoming from the area of obia, real or perceived. Such individual tends to, you know, uncontrollably bungle and make serious mistakes, as we are seeing all too often on this current campaign trail. They misspeak and solicit help from unpalatable characters and rejects of the society in an effort to appear all-inclusive, while they inadvertently portray themselves as seriously waning. Now, their experience is taken for nothing, especially in the presence of desperation, and therefore starts to equate itself, that experience starts to equate itself with that of dementia. They turn up their energy, or so they would like to think, only to discover that they're really showing out their anxieties, their regrets, and wished they hadn't miscalculated the vibes on the ground. Now, when you become complacent, it can be easy to get carried away. It's great to be keen and enthusiastic about winning any competition, whether a race in athletics, a soccer match, a card game, or just a card bingo. It's also good to be focused and committed in your mind. However, there's a point where keen starts to look more like desperate. Take a step back and let's consider whether you know anyone to show these 5 signs of desperation. The first sign, all of a sudden, they are constantly available. They were not available before, but all of a sudden, they're constantly available. Whether it's being available to chat online, responding immediately to every text and or email, or being free to avail themselves of delivering gifts at a moment's notice. Being available all the time gives one clear message. You don't have a life, at least for the moment. Now you're advocating playing games. And as soon as you get what you want, you stop and you start giving time and attention to the rest of your life, your friends, family, and hobbies. Then the people you are buttering up, they get left until you need them again the next time. And in this case, is usually a few years down the road. We've seen this all too often in our local politics, especially in the period 1995 to now. The second, compromising your integrity, if at all you had any, and principles. Someone who's showing signs of desperation will often feel that they need to compromise in order to secure a lasting bond between them and their subjects, their followers. While it is important to be flexible and open to new possibilities, folks, maybe attempting to butter up a large segment of the population who've started to pay attention, especially if they are totally outside of your age range, starts to look desperate when you go deeper on letting go of a little deeply held principle that you had left, or continuing to do things that compromise your integrity. Example, sharing wood, cement, stove, fridges, galvanize, because you just can't bear to become irrelevant and get left in your bid for one for the road. Desperation leads a man to attempt to hold on to associations that have been lost to an opponent who may sport more attractive proposals than he can ever dream of sporting to be current and relevant in these very, very taxing times. It also leads him to minimizing or overlooking behavior that others find demeaning, insulting, or even abusive. While he may feel that being compliant and easygoing in his time of desperate need to win favor will bring him the support he desires, the reality is that he will end up being treated like a doormat because of his lack of self-respect. You know, we cannot respect disrespect. And how check bring itself, so you give it blue. For we actually teach people how to treat us. And if you don't respect yourself, it is unlikely that others will respect you too. Simple. The third area, being too agreeable, wanting to please all of a sudden. You may have experienced this yourself. The leader who wants your approval so badly that he or she will become temporary yes man or yes woman just to get it. Interestingly, prior to that, when the bell may not have been rung as yet, he or she would have been known to deny you your own needs and feelings. The trouble with someone like this is that you'll never really be able to trust them or get close to them, because at the fundamental level, they are being dishonest with themselves and with you. People who cross over from one group to the other, and others who sing in the most vulgar manners for their supper just to eat a food, are being used for the moment. You have one in particular who's prepared to go all out to brand other thief, calling others thief, loud, loud, loud. when that very person is reputed for having a record that is not good in that area too? Not mentioned the leader they try to pander to, who is bloodied in that area of patent dishonesty, with signed documentary record to prove it. Folks, if you find yourself dogging behind people who don't want to go on with you anymore, you will often be left feeling frustrated and resentful because the amount of effort you put in doesn't yield the rewards that you want. What are the rewards you're looking for? Approval, compliments, a last chance in spite of getting two such in recent past. It may be that you're suffering from a disease to be pleased, which is being motivated more by your need for approval and your own desperation than by the genuine interest in the people that you're trying to attract. And it is becoming clearer by the minute. Allow me to come up for some air here again before I conclude on this explanation of desperation, which seems to be causing experience to look like dementia right before our very eyes.
EDDIE-FICATION with consulting human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited and Tillian Group Country Cold Store.
The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all. EDDIE-FICATION with
Somebody is saying here the cognitive decline is glaring and the desperation is crazy, out of whack. But folks, let me continue, because we have quite a bit of turkeys to fry here this evening. So as you continue to take a step back with me to consider whether you know anyone at all to show these remaining 2 signs of desperation out of the 5 I initially promised to share with you, let us turn to a need for compliments and reassurance. It's perfectly natural to want and need some reassurance that your efforts to reconnect with people are progressing well, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to keep asking for their support in a manner that besmirch the character of others on the stage, looking for the same thing that you seek. Now, the people in the end who are having loads of fun during this season, trust that you will know by noticing how they are behaving and engaging with you, that it is time for you to go home. If they are making conversation, laughing, and they seem happy to be there, relax and enjoy yourself without overthinking every gesture and ending up being wrong about the overall mood of the collective. Focus on whether you're having a good time, and in so doing, that vibe will be transmitted, rather than trying to get into their head and work out what is going on for them. And because they laugh, you get carried away with mudslinging, poor articulation of things, and ending up being TikToked for comedy relief immediately after your vulgar tirades. Folks, this is serious, you know. It's puppy show, mama guy, and foolishness, you know. And you telling me this is a matter of state, this governance we're talking about, and all you could see is drain activities, stupidness. You people jumping up behind that. There should not be one Grenadian jumping up behind that. Far less how many of you left still jumping up behind that. That has to be madness. It has to be retardation of the highest degree. Avoid making disparaging remarks about others, example, for fear that they come back to haunt you, or for fear that the response strip you bare. For when you malign others, the response is most times 10 times worse in a climate of confrontation. If you get a compliment for whatever reason, remember there's also another point of view and accept it with humility and with graciousness rather than using it as a hook to get more reassurance and fuel to behave even more bombastic and toxic. The fifth area, getting too close for comfort. Even if all went well on the previous terms, danger of losing face always lurks. You must allow some necessary space between you and your subjects, your followers, if you want the relationship to flourish. Barraging someone with curse words and temper tantrum, whether in person or via the telephone at odd hours, especially early in the mornings, can make even the keenest of supporter and follower head for the door, as has been known to happen all too often. Like an overwatered plant, angst, acrimony, anger, toxic energy will kill associations rather than forge them and help them grow. But you know, in the King James Version of the Bible that many of you like to quote and quote, the text of Matthew 12:34 reads, O generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And I have seen a particular post of someone that really touched me somewhat, to the point where I believed it is very appropriate for me to share it here this evening. It was written by Charlene Moraine on Monday last. Quote, my dearest Prime Minister, I might not be qualified to advise you since my credentials might not meet the criteria. But as a fellow Grenadian, I beg of you, can you please change the script of your campaigns to one that is specific to nation building and your intentions to fix our economy? I am tired with after every rally your words are being used to create TikTok videos and pieces of comedy. Can you please leave me with something that is worthy of me pondering my decisions for June 23rd, 2022? I beg of you, please, and thank you. Help me to think intellectually again. Here ends the text. Folks, the current election campaign landscape is riddled with comedy, which is showing its hand as a rare form of desperation. If either side of the political divide wants to convince this nation that they're really confident of seizing victory, there would be no need for mudslinging and low-down behavior. But of course, that is coming from one platform only. There would be no need for any side to be meeting late into the night every night, or in the wee hours of the morning, like if they're Lugaro or Lajables, plotting how to produce fake posters, falsely promoting a non-existent meeting or rally of the other side, as if to wake up the pretensive nature of our inconsistent people as a means of frightening them into supporting them against their formidable opponent. But since young people started paying attention, it can be seen that the incumbent got caught with their pants down, as this campaign is about issues relating to agriculture and food security, genuine youth development, health and education, and of course, the settlement of the outstanding pension to public servants as ordered by a judgment of the court. So while the main opposition continues to remain on point with addressing these issues in context of its transformational agenda, the other side is mumbling, jumbling, mispronouncing, and talking in tongues. EDDIE, give me the thing. A set of nonsense. And calling people names. They have even reached the point of declaring every objective statement of commitment made by the leader of the main opposition, NDC, as pie in the sky, and at one point referring to him as dunce. But you notice, not referring to him as a thief. Because they can't go there. Could you imagine a mammothly successful lawyer of 20 years in the practice, still young, being called dunce by a man whose track record, Maurice Bishop was here for 4.5 years. If you check Gary's period, 1974 to 1979, another 5 years, 2 5-year termers. And they left sustainable things that without which we would have been eating the bread the devil need today. Longest term, nothing to show for it by way of sustainability. Nothing. But feel qualified to call a successful legal practitioner dunce. But remember, I tell you, not thief though. You can't call him thief. Because he can't go there. Interestingly, these statements have all backfired to the point where the utterer realized that after losing so many points on the said issue of the pension payment, he comes back now and says his NNP administration, if elected, if re-elected, will pay it in a phased manner. Well, I guess he does too. Folks, Papi Show and Mama Guy and stupidness. Huh? You think I have any right to be having this kind of discussion here tonight on a man who's supposed to be accomplished, a man who is very close to 80 years? We should be celebrating this man. We're not supposed to be, you know, speaking in a disparaging way about such a man who would love people to think he's accomplished. Accomplished what? Disrespect. Accomplished what? Pauperization of the nation. Accomplished what? By way of no structure, no order, lawlessness in the society. No matter where you go, it's just lawlessness. That's an accomplishment? Folks, y'all better get with the program, because this is just ridiculous. Really, really ridiculous. You know, after such vacillation and strong, robust responses to the leader of the main opposition, NDC, the people who were cheated out of their due in terms of pension payments over the years have to be totally foolish to trust Keith Mitchell's word. He's made this promise before. He's made his career in politics about lying and tomfoolery over the years. And that is why a hell of a strong case is made for him to go. You know, just like no is a 2-letter word, that is also a whole sentence. Go is another one. It is time for this bad joke that was taken too far to finally end. And Grenadians, you have to end it. This man has shown that his word is not his bond, and to consider people would accept an invitation to become a member of any team that he leads can only conjure up wonder about their own judgment, not to mention their own character. Folks, the crassness of the man has overshadowed any chance of him ever having any ability to display class. Even though he has been around the precincts of leadership and power and exposed to the finer things of life for so many years. Take a listen to him at any given point in time. Nothing he says has currency, scholarship, and depth. It is always steeped in a focus on exciting the baser instincts of the Grenadian people and thus blinding them to their pauperization and relegation to the back as presided over by himself. Folks, those of you who have no clue of what I meant by class when the issue arises, I share the following with you. Listen to me and follow me carefully. Class never runs scared. A person with class is usually a confident person, in other words. Class is sure-footed and confident in the knowledge that you can meet life head-on and handle whatever comes along. Class never makes excuses. It takes its lumps and learns from past mistakes. Class is considerate of others. Class also knows that good manners are nothing but a series of petty sacrifices. Class bespeaks an aristocracy that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with ancestors or money. The most affluent blue blood can be absolutely without class, while the descendants of someone from humble beginnings may ooze class from the pores. Everyone is comfortable with the person who has class because he is comfortable with himself. If you have class, you don't need much of anything else. But if you don't have it, no matter what else you have, it doesn't make much difference. So you could take a pig and pelt it up in a palace, it will still be a pig. And that's what we're seeing. People are not, it's just wrong pegs trying to jam themselves in square holes. And this has been going on since 1995. And that is why Grenada, based on the current construct, can be likened to a cup of cocoa tea when shaken. You find dregs all over the place. And one would think that if you don't know better, you get an opportunity to be in a position, you would grow and, match the opportunity. But no, people prefer to take the opportunity down with them instead of saying, no, I was born to grow through life and not just go through life. And therefore, this opportunity I got here is really presented to me so that I can lift my standard. I can rise to the occasion rather than pull down the opportunity to my level. No, man. Folks, we have to do better than that, And that is why I call the 95 to now the gutterization of Grenada. We need to gentrify this place again. And the gentrification has to start with us who know better making an effort to help those who don't. Because I am totally convinced if people knew better, they would do better, I am totally convinced of that. But if you have a miscreant creature A cane cutter gone wrong, for instance. A cane cutter in leadership position. What you expect? What you going to expect? And I'm not talking about a cane cutter that was reformed. I'm just talking about straight from cutting cane. Boom! You're in leadership. And you bring all your facets of cutting cane with you. Folks, you ain't have no right to be there. You have no right to be there. Then is when you should say, don't go there. And we as a people, a collective, we should correct that malady. Move it. Tear it out and pelt it away and say, no, we ain't going back in that mud pig junction. We're going forward and upward because the civilization is supposed to grow. The civilization is supposed to go up, not go down. I heard the leader of the opposition last night is, what do you call it, town hall, talking about 40 to 60, I don't know if that's a figure or whatever, of the people that are, it's just a constant recycling of these people on statutory boards and boards around the place. And what are they bringing? Nothing. They're going for the board fees. Some of them going to the board meeting and they're sleeping. Some of them carrying the wrong file because they're on 5 boards. It's just a sort of supplementary income to them. Raping the country, folks. Raping the place. And these boards that they're on, you can see no shimmering lights. They've contributed zilch, nothing. Because year in, year out, the board's still operating like some little old piece of cupboard on the side of the road. No initiative. No thinking. Nothing novel. And we continue to support that. All you're drunk, you all must be drinking all the rum we're making in the country. Come on, folks. Wake up, man. It's time to shake up. Wake up. And stop this joke. This is a joke. This has to be a joke. Mama guy and papi show. Every day is a wheeling and a dealing and a con and a lie and a... Come on. We have to know when to stop. The joke is over, folks. The joke is over. We cannot have I mean, come on, an almost 80-year-old man leading the joke. Are you ashamed? When Gary became successful in politics, he was 29. Launched himself at 26. Maurice Bishop launched himself at 26. But interestingly, it's over 70 years ago. Gary created that thing and opened that ceiling. And all of you young people, over 60% of this country young, and you're all satisfied to have an almost 80-year-old black polished head man running your country? You all ought to be sick. Wake up, people. That is why I tell you, young people, pull up your goddamn chair. Pull up your chair and pay attention. Because at the end of the day, when you graduate from Imani, is debushing you're going to get to do, thanks to the 80-year-old. No vision, no nothing. And you all following that? You need to cut that out. Cut it out. And cut it out fast. Woo! Let's come up for a little bit of air here. Oh, this thing is so vexing. It's really vexing.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited, Antillian Group, Country Cold Store.
The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all. EDDIE-FICATION with
Good. Folks, this is going to be my last segment for Edification 117. So welcome back. I just want to, Chanel, welcome. Who else do we have? I don't know if I mentioned Sharon earlier. Or April, welcome. Rosemary. Who else do we have here? Marcus, welcome. Who else? Well, Anne-Marie, yeah. All right, folks. So, if you have class, you don't need much of anything else. If you don't have it, no matter what else you have, it doesn't make much difference. As we can see with this low life that your carelessness has caused to run amok in and over authority in this trial and state for so darn long. Folks, you gotta stop that joke. Are you therefore surprised at the lengths he would go to excite his base while pissing off others in the process and making our entire nation look like a latrine, so to speak? If you want more of that, go and support him. But if you're tired of that, on Thursday, 23rd June, you have the power to change that. You have an opportunity to show that you have awakened simply because you are tired of agreeing to people and things that insult your soul. After all, you cannot and must not support any politician who finds it crafty to attempt to destroy others in order to succeed. Such elements must know that destruction awaits them at the gate of their own success. A lot of destruction is awaiting this particular element. He has attempted to and succeeded in some cases in destroying too many people and taking advantage of the innocent. This needy, greedy, and vulture syndrome that has taken full hold of our society has got to go so that our people can breathe freely again and instead be oriented towards positive and desirable things that are building them and contributing to their growth as a civilization. We have to remember that a bad system does not appear wrong to those who benefit from it. They do everything to defend it to the detriment of the larger society. In other words, as long as they benefit, to hell with others who don't, and you must join them so their progress could continue while your progress prevails. Nicole Brenda Lee Johnson wrote, listen to me. Stop this low-down gutter snipe behavior. We are more than that as a people. You support a Mitchell-led party, they support a Mitchell-led party. Win-win, right? Those of you who attempt to discredit candidates sides, remember, they are humans with real emotions. They have families, children, to hear all and see these despicable things. These behaviors cannot increase our salaries, pay pension and gratuity, or lift anyone's standard of living. Election should be about substance. I know we have a sense of humor and we are unbelievably creative, but we are not hoodlums. Let's hold these 30 men and women accountable. Let's pray for God's will to be done. Let's have fun. Eat ice cream and cake or pie on the plate from the 23rd. But let's avoid being down and dirty. And according to my friend here, Nicole Brenda Lee Johnson, she says, and let me have to talk to all you again, unquote. I thought that was so cute. I found it necessary to share. That is stellar advice, folks. Well appreciated. It is to be expected that responses will be forthcoming to any attempt to malign or defame. He who throws the first blow must remember that the dollars don't make noise, but the change does. Participants from either side have a right to respond and defend their good name and or character. But folks, don't let the greedy and vultures tie up your heads because their leader had turned vulnerability and poverty into an industry that they benefit from. Just like the many poorly educated pastors and pastresses have turned Christianity into a Jesus industry of prosperity for the family that owns the church. You almost is sick with me, but that is the truth. It's a Jesus industry. They turned Christianity into pappy show. What a pity. When one does not know when it is time to quit, they end up being disgraced. If they were as confident as they would like to make people believe they are, they would not resort to desperate actions which cause them to bungle and look like mere pedestrian spectacles. And that is precisely why I said, folks, desperation causes experience to look like dementia. As I take my leave again, I am very aware that insecure people whose foundation is shifting are expected to use insults when they cannot make civilized arguments based on facts. And I'm even more so now prepared for that than any other time in my life. All I say to such is when you come in, come good. Because you know what I said earlier, the dollar don't make noise, it's the change. Grenadians, as Kaelan Dion said, just because you've grown immune to the venom, the poison, doesn't mean you should go running back to the snake that bit you. Time for change. This joke has been going on for much too long. They had their chance, they blew it. Don't keep waiting for something good to happen to you under them, for they've shown you they have no good intention for you, but for themselves. This is the period for you to do some serious assessment with a view to taking back your country and giving its management to someone else who we believe will do a better job. But you know what I want you to do? When that change comes, you better change your attitude too. Because the same attitude that got you where you are now, which is undesirable, is not the same attitude that will take you out. Because if you're going to elect a new set and then you fold your arm and you go back in your hole, you're going to get more of the same. You need to stay awake, hold their feet to the fire, hold them accountable to the promises made. And let's wake up as a nation. Because change is coming. We want you to get ready to be a part of the movement going forward to salvage, stabilize, and build Grenada. Don't deny the signs. Don't deny the vibes and the energy that you feel. In the same token, the price of apathy towards public affairs is to be ruled by evil men, according to Plato. We have had that experience over the last 27 years. We want it to stop. I'm in, I'm out, and I'm gone. See you next week, folks. God willing, until next Thursday, I want you to stay safe, stay well, and remain totally lifted. Peace and blessings.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited, Antillian Group, Country Cold Store.
Living with the pandemic hasn't been easy, but that does not mean that life has to fall apart. Work, play, and take care of your finances from home. Connect with friends on social media, host Zoom meetings with colleagues, and use Co-op Bank's e-banking to pay your bills and manage your funds. Log on to www.grenadacoopbank.com and sign up for Co-op Bank's e-banking.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Co-op Bank introduces e-payments, our new e-banking feature that allows you to send money to friends or family. E-payments, the swift, simple, and secure way of transferring money.
Welcome home. Believe in our strength. We'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give. It's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Untitled Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
You are offered a wonderful opportunity to win a grocery coupon to the tune of EC $250, redeemable at any of the food fairs. All you've got to do to qualify is like, share, comment, and follow EDDIE-FICATION on any of social media platforms. This promotion continues for all of June with one draw on Thursday, June 30th. The winner will be announced immediately after advising the said winner. Any overseas winner is asked to kindly transfer their winning to a relative or friend who lives in the state of Grenada. I am extending an open invitation to any individual or company tuned in to come on board and assist with our drive to whip up an interest in getting more of our young people to pull up their chair and pay attention to the instructive thoughts and ideas shared on this program as we seek to edify them to make better decisions that would help to shape a better future for themselves and the future security of the nation as a whole. Join me in bringing excitement to our audience with a chance to win something that can brighten their corner in these challenging times. Reach out and touch someone as regularly as you can afford. Of course, due recognition will be given to you for your active partnership in this regard. Thanks in advance.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant